Welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I'm your host, Ron Dichter. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate you being a part of our community. I want to talk today about comfort. And I want to talk about your comfort and trying to really determine success based upon how far outside of comfortable you really are. Now, the great thing about this show is that when I don't have a guest on, it's just me. And while everything that comes out of my mouth may not apply or work for you, I'm giving you the things that have worked for me. And since it's my show, I can be able to do that. But I hope what's happening is that when I give you the things that have worked for me, that they ultimately help you. And I do this because I care. I do this because I want entrepreneurs to be successful. I've been very fortunate in my life, and I've had, a handful of really successful exits, and I want to share that wisdom. So comfort is something to me that I try to avoid at all costs, especially when I talk about business. Now, obviously, I'm not referring to your family life. I'm not referring to, your life outside of business. We're simply talking about business here. And when I think of comfortable, I think of complacency. I think of something that isn't challenging me or isn't pushing the business forward. And so I'm really cognizant of trying to make sure that whatever it is I'm doing in a day or in a week is something that stretches what I feel is comfortable. Because again, if I get trapped in that comfort mentality, what that means to me is that I'm not pushing myself hard enough, which means that the business is going to be flat and ultimately I'm going to plateau. Now, that is a very challenging place to be, because when you're not comfortable, it means you're constantly grinding and constantly hustling and constantly working. And some people say, well, the reason I started business is I can get myself to a place and then the business, just kind of becomes a cash cow for you. And that may very well be true. And for some of you out there, maybe that's your goal. Maybe you want to have a business that you can be comfortable at, and that's okay. But you have to be aware that if you're making that choice, you are making the choice that the business is done growing. And all you're going to do at that point is have that incremental, year over year growth that happens from, whatever basic blocking and tackling you do. But any real momentum, any real growth requires you to get outside of that comfort zone and do something different. Push the envelope of what you think the business is capable of. And that's where I really don't like being comfortable, because I get bored. And if I'm going to grow a business, I want to grow a business. I don't want to run a business. I've always said I'm not a great operator of a business unless the business is in growth mode. And there's been countless times where I've sold businesses and I've been, recruited by different private equity and, recruiters trying to get me to come in and run a business. And while I entertain the conversations, if it's coming in and basically don't screw up this business and just keep it running, that's not for me. I want to grow. I want to do things that move the needle, and I want to be part of something that really, wants to accelerate growth to a level that, the business hasn't seen, which is why 99% of the time I end up going and doing my own thing, because I'm not constrained about the limitations of what other people think a business is capable of. So if your goal is to grow, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that means pushing the envelope of what your business is capable of, always finding ways to stretch and grow, whether it's adding new products, features, enhancements, whether it's, expanding your presence, whether it's adding to your sales team, whether it's, going back and, marketing into your existing base, whatever it is for your business. If you're comfortable, your business isn't growing. So you got to be uncomfortable. You got to make the business grow by getting outside of that comfort zone and doing things that make you uncomfortable. And it's a scary thing to do, especially if you've spent so much time, grinding and building the business. And now all of a sudden, you're at a place where you're making good money. The business is profitable. You've got a good team assembled, and you want to let the foot off the gas and start to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And again, if that's your journey, more power to you. But this episode is about growth. This episode is about not being happy, being comfortable, and wanting to accomplish more in your business. And that is the audience I'm talking to today, is the people that want to grow, the people that want to get uncomfortable, the people want to step outside of their comfort zone and push the envelope of what their business is capable of. So if this is for you, you've got to remember that when you get to the place where you feel comfortable, you have to grow. Because if you've gotten to the point of your comfort, then you're not trying things new. You're not pushing the envelope. You're not trying to propel the business forward. So just be aware of that. Comfort for me, again, this is my show, so I can tell you what works for me. When I hit comfort, I need to do one of two things. I need to either sell the business, which I've done, or I need to do something different to help grow that business to the next level, which I've also done. And there isn't a right or wrong answer here. It's just for me, if I'm still engaged in the business, if I'm still excited about the business, if I still like what we're doing, then out of my comfort zone is where I go. But if I'm just checked out and I'm not into the business anymore, well, then I'm going to sell it and move on and go find something that excites me and gets me, motivated to get outside my comfort zone. Anyway, hope you find this helpful. Hope you can take some tidbits of wisdom here and apply it to your own life. If this didn't apply to you today and I bored you, hopefully tomorrow will be a better show for you. Thanks again for tuning in. Please remember to like and comment. I put this out there because I care. For those of you that have been tuning in, it means the world to me. For those of you who shared, that's everything. So thank you so much. It just means everything that you would share this and help others learn from whatever wisdom might be coming out of my mouth here. So have a great day. And until next time, project that grandeur, folks.